This is how I made these moving ears, and you can too. These ears are inspired by Miss Twisted, so go check out their page after this video. First things first, what all do you need to make this wig? First, you'll need a base wig. I got this white wig from Amazon. You can also get a white wig from Arta or Epic Wigs. Keep in mind that this headpiece is glued to this wig, and I cannot use this wig for any other cosplay now. Also keep in mind that you want a wig with a middle part down the center. You also need a piece of felt that matches your wig. I got mine from Michael's for, I believe, 89 cents. I think it was 8 by 11, and that worked perfectly for me. Next, you'll need hot glue and a hot glue gun. This wig uses a lot of glue. Next, you'll need cardboard. The size of the cardboard depends on the size of ears you want to make. I used a small side of the cardboard box for these ears. Then you want to get feathers. I get bulk feathers from Amazon, but you'll need a lot more than you think you'll need. Then you'll need fishing wire. This is what actually makes the ears move. Next time, I personally would go with thinner fishing wire. This is just what I had on hand. But they do move the ears, so you want to make sure that it's tough enough fishing wire and it won't snap. Finally, for Stella, I got her crown from Amazon. I don't need a crown, but for Stella, she needs a crown. That's all the materials. Now let's talk about the tools that I use. First thing you want is a crimper. Crimper will give you volume. I'll show you how to use a crimper in a minute. Next, you'll want a canvas wig block. Some people use a styrofoam head, but a styrofoam head isn't good underneath heat. If you can invest in one of these early, it'll help your wig game. You'll need a canvas wig head block also because of the hot glue. Then you want wig pins. I use a couple of different kinds, but this will help hold the wig down. Then you'll need a teasing brush. You can also use a fine tooth comb, but I find a teasing brush is easier. Then you'll need a black marker and some alligator clips to help you section off the hair. Now that you have everything, let's get started. Also, there's a lot in this video, so make sure you watch to the end so that you don't miss any important steps. Once you have all the materials, you want to take out the wig and put it on the canvas wig block. Then you want to pin it down. I like to pin mine both sides of the ears, the back of the neck, and the top of the head. It's important to remember where your pins are, especially when we get to the hot glue part. You don't want to accidentally hot glue any pins into your wig. Then you want to prep your wig. I prep my wigs by crimping them. Keep in mind where you get your wigs is going to determine how much heat you can use on your wig. If you got yours from Amazon, you want to use very low heat. If you get yours from Epic or Arta, you can use a little bit higher heat. But always do a test strand so that you don't accidentally melt your wig. First thing I do when crimping my wigs is to start at the very bottom. You're going to section off 2 or 3 wefts. This should be a very small section, and you want to take a piece of this section and crimp from the top down. I continue doing this from right to left. After the whole section is crimped, I like to brush it out really well with a fine tooth comb and try to get out any harsh lines that are in there. Then you're going to section off that area with an alligator clip. Then you're going to pull down another 2 to 3 wefts and do the exact same process until you get all the way up to the top of the head. Eventually, you're going to get to the skin cap, which is the part where the wefts stop being in straight lines. I just take small pieces at a time and work through it until I get to the very last piece. Once the wig is crimped, it should have more texture and more volume than it did when it came out of the bag. It should also be less shiny. This will help your wig look a bit more professional. Now we're going to move on to creating this front headpiece. It's important to note that there's 3 pieces to the actual headpiece: the front headpiece and each ear. They are their own separate pieces that you glue together at the end. The first thing that I did was I took 2 alligator clips and I took these 2 front sections and I pinned them back. This helps just get the hair out of the face. Then I took the piece of felt and I folded it in half and I pinned it right underneath the cap of the wig. It's also good at this time to put the crown on the wig just so you have a visual of where you want everything. If you have a wig with the center part, you'll be able to see where the center of the wig is a lot easier. Next, we're going to draw where we want our headpiece to end. Here's where I drew mine and here's where it ended up. Then I took off the piece of felt and I cut it like so. Then I repinned the piece of felt, but this time on top of the piece of the wig. Then I drew how far back I wanted the first headpiece to go. Your ears sit right behind this headpiece. I drew mine about 3 inches back, I want to say. Then I cut that out and it should look something like this. Then we're going to start layering the feathers. Starting from the very back, I added a row of feathers, then another row, until I got the shape and design that I wanted. I added about 6 layers on mine, but yours really depends on the kinds of feathers that you get and what you like. Then I pinned this front headpiece back down to the wig to make sure this is what I wanted. I put a pin right in the center and 2 on the sides, and then put the crown back on to make sure it was exactly what I wanted. You want to make sure the center point is exactly in line with the hairline. Now we're going to get to one of the hot gluing parts. Remember where your pins are so that you don't accidentally hot glue a pin down. I left the 2 pins in the back where they were, and I removed the center pin. Then on the hairline and the center part, I glued a little bit straight down. It's important to make sure that it dries completely before doing anything else. After that, I removed the back 2 pins, and I lifted up this front headpiece, and I put a line of glue down the rest of the middle part and pressed it down to the wig. Now we gotta move on to the fun part of actually making the ears. The base for this is going to be cardboard. The first thing that I did was I drew a couple of shapes down on a piece of cardboard. This is gonna determine the length and width of your ears. Keep in mind that on my ears, the cardboard ends here, but the wings go all the way up to here. For the shape, I kind of did a sail or a curved triangle and then a rectangle down at the bottom. This is the ideal shape for this type of ear. Once I had the size and shape that I wanted, I traced it and got a second one. Once I had 2 pieces, I bent the rectangle side. The rectangle side is what gets glued down to your wig later on. This is what holds the ear in place. I also curved it to match my wig block. Then once you have that, you want to drill a hole along the straight edge on both sides. This is where the fishing wire is going to go. This is what pulls up the ear. Once you drill that hole, you want to tie it around. The higher up the hole is, the easier it is to pull these ears up and down. Once it was tied off, I hot glued the knots into place. Then, just like the front headpiece, I'm going to layer feathers. I don't remember how many layers I did for these ears, but I did quite a few. And I did them on both sides of the ear. You don't want to put them on the rectangle piece at the bottom. You want to make sure that the ear can still move. We'll cover that rectangle piece later. Before we get to the last few steps, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button for more cosplay related content. Also, I have an Etsy shop where I build custom wigs for people. And you can always follow me on TikTok and Instagram also. Now let's get back to the tutorial. Now we're gonna get to attaching the ears. Next step is to part the wig right behind the headpiece where you want to hot glue the ears down. Before hot gluing, I pinned my ears down to make sure that they were gonna be where I wanted them. It's important that the front headpiece that we built earlier lays right on top of the rectangle, but doesn't stop the ears from being pulled forward. Once it's pinned, we will run the fishing wire through the wig cap. The wig cap itself should have a couple of holes that you can stick the string through. I like to have it run down right in front of my ear. And then the same thing on this side, right in front of where my ear is. While the ears are pinned to the wig, you want to make sure that they can still move and everything is functioning how it should. Once you have the ears where you want them, we're going to go ahead and hot glue them down. Again, wait for the hot glue to dry before doing anything else. Then the rectangles at the base, we are going to take some feathers and lay them across the rectangle and hot glue them down. This will just help cover things and make it look seamless. Then we're going to take the edge of the front headpiece and we're going to hot glue that down to the rectangle. The headpiece should now fully be glued down with a line down the center and 2 lines on the rectangles of each ear. This should also help cover up the rectangles. The last thing that we're going to do is tease the hair at the base. So take a section of hair and take your teasing comb and brush up. This will help give the hair more volume and help it blend in with the headpiece more so that it's not as flat to the head and looks like it's all one piece. And the rest is up to you. I did cut the front 2 pieces to be shorter than the rest of the wig, but anything else you want to do is completely up to you. Please let me know if you have any questions and check out my latest video. I'll meet you over there.